Hello everyone, welcome to Res Snapper. My name's MJ and this is Snapple Plus, where we look at the new cards coming to Marvel Snap this week. And this week it's Xorn. He's a 2/3. After any 3 or 4 cost card is played here, move it to another location. In this video we're going to talk about synergies, decks, counters. You can skip to the section that other weird stuff. You can skip, right. If you want, or True Legends, watch the whole thing. Yeah, so Xorn. Oh, Shazer. I forgot. Should we have a quick look? Let's do it early. Let's do it early doors. Open up the Marvel Encyclopedia. Wizard. Okay, Xorn. Kwan Yin Xorn. Maybe Korean with that name? Asian? Ah, China. Asia. Kwan Yin Xorn and his twin brother Shen were born in China and imprisoned, forced to wear special iron helmets to keep those around them safe. Jesus Christ, that's dark, bro. Their warden sold Kwan Yin to John Sublime, but the X-Men managed to free him first. He worked as a teacher, claiming to be Magneto. Then he slaughtered many people in Manhattan. Wolverine beheaded Xorn. So, a guy affected by heavy trauma and then did that, I guess. I do know there was some sort of retcon with Xorn, so if anyone can give me the full details of that in the comments below, that would be useful. Anyway, guys, let's strive on. Let's talk about the snap packs. You can, of course, buy Xorn for 6,000 tokens, should you wish to. However, if you open snap packs, alongside Xorn, you could also get Surge, Prodigy, Elixir, and then all of the What If cards as well. Any that you don't own, of course. So, yeah, I actually quite like this pool. I think it's a pretty good pool. Pretty good time to be opening seasonal Series 5 packs, in my humble opinion. But if you do definitely want Xorn and you need lots of these other cards, as always, the advice would be to buy it with tokens. Right, let's talk about the mechanics for Xorn. There's obviously a move-based cards. He's one card. This is obviously a move-based card, and so I think all of the move archetypes are going to work well with him, but in particular, move classic move will be nice. Move disruption, because he does affect your opponent's cards as well. The new kind of auto move style of deck. This is a deck that we've seen kind of emerge recently, where you've got like Hydra Stomper and it's all about generating as many moves as possible, ticking up your Craven multiple times, and always keeping your Miles to be free, all of that kind of stuff. Silky smooth decks, or as we call them around these parts, Indie Club. We call them Indie Club because in the club you mingle rhymes with Pringle comes in a stack, and that's what we do with cards in this location, is it? You want to play them in a stack. That was not too bad, guys, but we'll keep it. We could do better. But also control decks. This is another card that either forces your opponent to play somewhere different, or certainly affects their plans if they do play here. And on that note, I do wonder if we'll see an Echo effect with Xorn. Echo is truly invisible, like truly invisible. The last time I played Echo, my opponent played their bounced JTF on top of it, whacking Torres Falcon, right? Echo is 100% invisible all of the time. So I do wonder if Xorn might be the next invisible card, and your opponent is going to make mistakes by playing on top of it. And so with that in mind, I do also wonder if a lockdown style deck could work well, as well as a control deck. So yes, very interesting options there. Like storm a location, stick Xorn in there. Could be interesting. And then even Thena would work well in that particular makeup too, as she wouldn't be moved. Right, let's talk about the further things. We'll just continue talking through these slides, as we always do. Don't know why I made a special deal about moving on from the archetype section to the next section. But yeah, as I said, it does affect your cards and your opponent's cards, so there's an opportunity there for not only your own move cards and move synergies, but also move disruption, moving your opponent's stuff. The card that you're moving moves to another location at random, unless another location is full, and then it won't be at random, it will just be the remaining location. And it's not an ongoing ability, so it just happens in it. You can't be disrupted by the usual culprits of like Rogue or the more common and prolific Enchantress in the current meta. However, you can be disrupted by Red Guardian still, of course, and we will naturally talk about that in the counter section. Pros of the card. I think this is the cheapest card that moves multiple cards or can move many cards. Yeah, apart from Silk, who moves herself, I'm pretty sure this is the first 2-costed card that can move other cards multiple times. I mean, you've got cards like Hercules and, oh, Madam Web. Madam Web kind of, but she can only do 1 per turn, and it's from the 3rd turn. Technically speaking, if there's Elysium and other weird things in play, like you've got 5 extra energy, technically you could do more than that with Xorn. And just throughout the course of the game, technically there's more ability for him to move more. Fine. He curves into his own ability very nicely. He costs 2 and his ability affects 3 and 4 cost cards. So one curve that is definitely going to be absolutely straight filth, I think, is going to be Betrok the Leaper on 1, Xorn on 2, and then Vulture on 3. I think that's going to feel very, very sick all the time. And he's a good value for a card that does so much and has move deck flexibility. You can use this guy broadly in lots of different types of move decks. I think that's fantastic. And maybe beyond as well, like we say, control and knockdown. Definitely think there's going to be an ability, an opportunity for him there. We have seen players forget. Is it Asteroid M that moves? This is all like the Magneto-y kind of cards. Magneto moves 3 and 4 cost cards, but I think it's Asteroid M. When you play a card down, it gets moved to Asteroid M, and we do see players forget that often as well. And when I say we see players, oh god, I forget that. So yeah, I think people are definitely going to forget about Xorn, especially if you are using it in more of a control deck where you're not like playing your Vulture on top of it. You're not being flashy with the Xorn. Yeah, possible. And then some of the cons, he does move cards at random, so they may not go where you want them to go. Those points, you might need them at a specific location and they just don't go there. And sometimes you may need to get, or you may want, I should say, this is a game, you never really need anything in a game, do you? But you may want to get a specific 3 or 4 costed card at the location that Xorn is currently at, and Xorn is going to make that impossible. So yeah, that might feel a bit awkward sometimes and a bit annoying. So in addition to Red Guardian, which we've discussed, other counters include Mercury. Now Mercury is a card that is coming soon to the game from what we think and know. Second Dinner have not confirmed this, but data mines would signify that Mercury and Helion are the 2 Series 4 cards that we're getting injected into the game at the start of next season, which is at the point of Xorn's release, literally only a week away. So I wouldn't normally talk about unreleased cards, but I mean Mercury is so incredibly relevant because her ability is, you can move this once, and she's got an ongoing ability your opponent's cards here can't move. So if you play Mercury on top of a Xorn, nothing's going to move. Well, actually your cards can move. Sorry, your cards can still move away. So it's kind of a counter. It's a counter if your opponent is doing a move strategy with Vulture. And Vulture is kind of a counter to this card, because if you're playing a move deck, they're literally enabling your Vulture. So they're giving you a +6 for free, which is obviously nice. And speaking of Vulture, obviously Vulture is basically the best synergy with Xorn as well. I really love the synergy of Xorn into Vulture. As I said, that's going to be a great play. We also said that Xorn allows you to move multiple cards for free, getting like potentially an additional free movement every turn. So that could be great for Hydra Stomper, who's automatically going to keep ticking up in power. And of course, Red Wing. Maybe there's a new Red Wing deck in our future with cards like Topaz. In fact, Topaz should probably just simply have been on this Synergies list. But Topaz and Xorn have got a very similar ability. When you play a card on their location, these guys move them either somewhere or, away. And that is a level of consistency that we always see is so important with building new archetypes or new shells in Marvel Snap. This is now 2 cards that do a similar thing. You can build your deck around that. Obviously, you want a lot of 3 and 4 cost cards to play into the Xorn element, but you can still play those 3 and 4 cost cards on Topaz. And it just builds up this reliability, consistency. And so maybe Red Wing, this is like the best card that Red Wing's had ever. Because it's slightly better than Topaz because it's better to curve into. It's slightly worse because it's less controlled. So there's ebbs and flows, comme cis, comme ça, yes, comme c'est, comme ça. Why am I singing a French song, but I sound like I'm doing it in like the rhythmic and melodic beats that would be more associated with African nations. And no, I don't study music theory. Before anyone gets in the comments, oh, you're only saying that because you're a music teacher. Guys, it's just words that I said, and you need to get over yourselves. But no, I think Red Wing is going to feel absolutely awesome with Xorn. Even if you haven't got Infinauts and those really big rolls, just pulling out something interesting could be good. It could also be a way to get a 3 or 4 costed card at Xorn's location. So, yeah, interesting stuff. And also, again, not on the synergies here that I've put, but like Angela, I think is going to be really good as well. Also Hope, just all of the Silky Smooth style stuff. I recently played a Silky Smooth or In the Club style deck with Topaz, and I have to say, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. For me, it was like a real, like, oh shit, this is great. So I really enjoyed it. So I would, I would actually really recommend that. And obviously, as we talk about decks right now, we will talk about a Silky Smooth style one. But the first one is a budget deck. I've called it Auto Mover. And it is, a Xorn is the only Series 5 card in here, surprisingly, even though we've got other newish cards like Topaz and Batroc, but of course they released it Series 4. So we have got, the early game is like your Batroc, your Human Torch, we've got Kingpin in this bitch. Craven is going to benefit graciously from the moves from Xorn and Topaz. We've got other cards to benefit from automatically moving those locations or whatever, like Spider-Man 2099 and Vulture. Of course, you don't even have to play those cards on your auto movers like Xorn and Topaz, because you can Heimdall at the end of the game. And the other spicy little inclusion in this is Iron Lad. Really, the only sort of bad pull with Iron Lad here is like Heimdall, because it could be the truly bad one is Miles Morales, because that's just literally like do nothing. If it pulls Heimdall, that just might cause a bit of chaos and you might have to rethink things. Those are the only two like negative ones. Everything else is either just awesome or changes your plans a bit. Like if you copy a Xorn or a Topaz, it might just change your plans. So yeah, love the Iron Lad in this. This deck looks extremely fun. I don't always play the decks that I create in these videos, but this one I absolutely will, because even though it's a budget deck, I think it looks extremely fun. If you wanted to move it away from being a budget deck, you could of course put Hydra Stomper in here for something like, honestly, like a Kingpin. It makes the curve a little higher, but the Kingpin is just a spicy inclusion here in case they sort of do forget the Xorn, and yeah, could just meaningfully irritate them, to be honest. So maybe I wouldn't remove Kingpin. Any chance to play Kingpin, to be honest, considering he's not even played in Move Disruption, which it should be his deck. Disgusting. Anyway, let's talk about Silky Smooth. That's what I've called this deck. As I said, I loved playing that Topaz version of this deck so much that I have included her here alongside the Xorn. We have got the Angela. Now, there is a very important thing to note with Xorn in a Silky Smooth style deck. And in those Silky Smooth style decks, obviously you do want to stack the cards. However, if you play Xorn and then you want to play Hope and you want to, or Elsa, and you want to benefit from stacking that location, remember, playing that Hope or the Elsa on top of Xorn will move them. So you either need to play Hope or Elsa first and then the Xorn if you're planning to move 4 cost cards, or you just need to like bear it in mind and hopefully you're going down more of an Elsa strategy, or you have other ways to like duplicate cards. We have got like a Scarlet Spider in here, so activating Scarlet Spider early might not be the worst thing in the world if you're trying to fill multiple locations with Elsa. Yada yada yada. Apart from that, this is like a normal sort of Silky Smooth style deck. You got the Cravens because you have got the additional moves, potential auto moves in here. We have got Gwenpool. We have got actually a relatively like sort of shallower curve here. So the only higher costed card is Goliath. Hopefully you can do that on the final turn with some of your other lower costed cards that you might not expect. And we also have got Maria Hill in here, which might be a strange inclusion to you. And this is just to generate a bit of extra value, and also because we haven't got Thena in here, we are not worried specifically about playing just 2 cards a turn. So we might be able to play more, especially with the Hope and the lower curve here. So yeah, fun. Looks good. Looks good. And then finally, Scream. I've called this deck Scream. This is a traditional move disruption deck. For some reason I have got Kingpin in here. And another thing I want to talk about is Jean Grey. Jean Grey with Xorn could be very interesting. Similarly to our previous discussion about Hope, you can't actually play Jean Grey on top of the Xorn location, so you'd need to do it in the other order. Annoying, but fine. But we do also have Nebula to control our opponents as well. We do have the Kingpin here, because if we are playing Xorn, hopefully, and if we can somehow have gotten the Jean Grey and then the Xorn, that's really nice, and then we can hopefully get some additional triggers onto Kingpin. That could be awesome. And yeah, the rest of this is like just benefiting from controlling where your opponent is playing. So we are going to try and get the Kingpin ticks. We are going to try and get the Rocket, Raccoon and Groot snipes. And we can maybe fill or defill the Jean Grey location. Like they fill it up early. We yank them away with Aero or Stegron. That could be interesting. Or even Polaris. Yes, nice. Good stuff. Reminder as usual, if you have not liked the video or subscribed or turned on notifications, all of those stuff really help my channel. So yeah, appreciate it. And by the way, loads of you still aren't subscribed, so I really don't know what you're doing. I find it very offensive, but also I'm sort of joking. But am I? Yeah, I am. Alright, star ratings for Xorn. My pet, look guys, I am probably a little biased. I think I love the card. I love the stat line. 2-3 and it does a lot. Cool. I love the chaos element. Bit of random. I really like my chaos decks like Scarlet Witch, Legion. I love that guy. Cersei. I love that kind of thing. Which I think he feeds into a little bit. There's not so many chaos cards at the 2 cost. Scarlet Witch, but I love the artwork. I think it's a cool ability. It feeds into a few of my favourite archetypes. Silky Smooth and Auto Move. I've fallen in love with recently. So for me, he's a 3.5. I think he's very good / good. I think he's going to be really fun to play. For your own move cards, really, really awesome. And for move disruption, very good. I think from a fun perspective, he's definitely going to be fun to play. Giving him 4 stars for that. For the archetype, I think he is a meaningful addition to both move, auto move, primarily auto move really, and move disruption. I think he's definitely not insignificant to all of those archetypes. So quite flexible and versatile within move decks. And from a competitive standpoint, this is where I'm sort of less sure. I'm giving him 3 stars for now, which I still think is good. You know, don't mistake 3 stars for bad. I basically think 3 stars is perfectly viable. So yeah, for me personally, he is of course a snap. I love him, but I love the style of decks that he's fit into. If you're less into move cards, less into just the sound of this card, then yeah, I don't think he's like a mandatory pickup at all. So, not like Surge has been, where she's really, really good and she's had a big impact and works in lots of things. And really, she's taken the meta by storm. Storm Surge, of course, is the name of something that happens in the natural world, I think. Yeah, Xorn less so, but if you like the look of him, I say go for it. Now, let's talk about Elixir. My star rating before playing him was 2 stars. I did actually pick him up. In fact, a little confession, guys, I pretty much plan to get every card for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I'm going to try and stay on top of being collection complete and likely whale if it gets low. Yeah, it is a shameful thing to say, but I love the game. I'm really enjoying being able to play all of the new cards. So yeah, when I say I'm enjoying being able to play all of the new cards, maybe apart from Elixir, I do think he's 2 stars. Now, I have seen people saying he's good, and I think that there's a big difference between a completely unviable card, like a 1-star card, and a 2-star card. Like a 2-star card, I would just say is bad. I don't mean by that, or when I say a card is 2 stars, I don't mean they are unplayable. Okay, 2.5, I think they have their place, and within the right deck, they can be good in it. I'm not sure that makes him a good card overall, though. The problem with Elixir definitely feels like the restriction of his text. On reveal, one of your cards destroyed last turn gets revived here. That last turn thing is just incredibly prohibitive. You've got him in your hand, he's the only thing you can play. Sometimes you just play him out, you have to play him out for tempo on turn 2. And obviously that feels absolutely awful. And then you've got other situations where you're just like, okay, the card that I destroyed last turn isn't really going to do much. And then you've got other situations where you just can't afford to play him, or he's just fitting in too late. There's all of this considerations with him. So as we said in that video, future cards are definitely going to be good for Elixir, including like Dormammu. Dormammu requires sacrifices. It's going to be easier to destroy cards early on, especially cards that you want to revive with things like Elixir, or that you want to re-trigger with Firehair, and obviously Kid Omega as well. In my previous video where I said that he was like, I basically said he had Venom's ability. He doesn't. Again, I don't have the text to hand, but he doesn't quite do that. I think he's like destroy the next card you play to gain their power. It's closer to that. It is somewhat similar to Venom, but kind of the opposite. Anyway, yeah, Elixir is definitely going to get good. Elixir's going to get really good. I think he's a fairly fun card, but yes, just not the time for him now, and that's okay. We only have to wait a couple of weeks until Kid Omega comes out, probably. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of Xorn in the comments below, and I will see you next week for like 4 episodes of Snapple Pass. It's going to be a heavy one, guys, so I see you then. I'll see you then. Good, this has ended very well.